going to start out with Tia talk a little bit about land finance and infrastructure. Leave it for her.
I'm going to speak in English, and there will be translation. We decided it might be a little bit easier. I must say this is not my favorite thing. If it was up to me, I would just be a pastor and get the chair out. But someone has to do it. So. I would like to start maybe with the buildings. The buildings and the ownership of the buildings has taken up most of, a lot of time, my time this year. What has happened this year, we have been in negotiation with General Board of Global Ministries because from the 1920s, when the church was established in Latvia, the Mission Board, which has become GBGM, bought two buildings. And those buildings were the Leapai building and Riga First. On Riga First property was also the wooden building, and we also had another building. Then in the 2000 something, we also bought the Liepa building, but that came much later. We have been in negotiation with General Board of Global Ministries about change of ownership. The agreement has always been that when the Latvian churches are ready to take on the ownership of the building, then it will be gifted over to Latvia, because they were bought for the Latvian Methodist Church. We now have been able to register the buildings. Riga First is now owned by General Board of Global, by Latvian Methodist Church. The Liepa building is owned by the Latvian Methodist Church. Our wonderful wooden building is owned by the Latvian Church. The one holdup is the building in Liepai. The land registry office there is having a hard time. They do not want to recognize that the Latvian United Methodist Church of today is really a continuation of the Methodist Church that was here in the 20s. And if they do not recognize that, and what they're saying is we have to go to the government municipality of Liepai and ask them their permission. And they have the right of first refusal. That sets a very bad precedent, which we would have to live with. So we refuse to do that. So we continue to try to prove to them that we are the same church that was in, and we will win this fight. That means that we have to have contracts with each congregation. Therefore, we are in the process of forming agreements between LAM and Riga First, LAM and Liepa's building, LAM and Liepai, as to what the rules are. And the rules that are going to be, because LAM has no money, that the congregations will have to take full responsibility for the building, but it is LAM property. And that means it cannot be mortgaged, as per the Methodist book, and it cannot be sold. Any questions? We're very grateful, General Board of Global Ministries, because we had to pay taxes, even though two of the buildings were gifted, and Riga First was a sale, and they helped us out with the attorney's fees. They gave us a portion of the money, and we're very grateful. And Ulis, I ask that you send our greetings to them and our thank you. Now, we have good news about, well, maybe good news about the wooden building. We have been trying to get permission to tear down the building, which is a historical monument, so that in this place we could build a social center that is very, very needed for our society, for the community that is in Riga. But because it's a historical monument, we have come up with, they haven't given us permission. The latest is that we met with the board, the chair of the historical department in building department, and he said, because we have argued and have asked people, inspectors, to come and say it's not safe and it's not renewable, he has said that if we write a letter and we don't use the word demolish or tear down, but we use another word, it means the same thing. And if we don't put anything in this request that is against the written law that they have to go by, then he could see where we could tear it down. This is huge news. Huge news. I asked, well, how are we going to know if we're using the right wording? And he said, well, come to our office and we'll help you. And I said, who in the office? He said, well, you can ask for me. So, it sounds good. The idea would be that we would have a fundraiser to do the permit slips and to demolish the building first of all, then the architectural drawings and the plannings to put up a new building. The square footage, the square footage in that building is not really that big for the center of Riga. The back of the building is not historical site, or not historical, under the historical. It was an addition. So they would allow us, if we get permission from our neighbors, to put on 2 floors, which would almost double the square footage, usable square footage of the building. I can see where that could happen. We finally have something that we can fundraise about. We can get an estimate. We have something concrete where it's always just been someday would be nice. The Latvian churches have been donating for the wooden building and done it from the heart. But you have to understand what our capabilities are. So this is good news. God is working. And I really want to say a great big thanks to Erica. Erica, would you please stand up? I must admit, there's been so much going on. I have put this on the back burner for a long time. Erica, God put it on her heart, and she has gone to so many ministries. She has gone to so many offices. She is very persistent, and she's the one that got us the appointment, and she is really an incredible, incredible gift to land. And Erica, thank you in all our names. We have 2 buildings that are not owned by Lamb, and those are Matras Church and Riga Second. When we got the buildings back, they were registered under Matras' name, and Riga Second registered under their own name. Now Matras seems to be doing all right as far as maintaining the building. Of course, everything could be much better, but with their finances, they are able to care for the building. Riga Second, that building is a bigger structure. They have huge problems. They have huge problems with the roof. They have huge problems with the windows. They have huge problems with the plumbing. The heat was a problem. I don't know if the heat is still a problem, but probably because of the windows is still a problem. So that's another building that really is going to need maybe some fundraising or some help to get it into any kind of normal condition. The Liapa building also, where the Hope Center is, and downstairs are the two Liapa congregations, the Latvian and the Russian congregations. I told you about the ventilation problem, which is critical for the moms and the babies, especially the babies, which has to be addressed. But that building also needs the insulation on the outside, or the problems will persist. Oh. Maybe he has some words of wisdom.
Maybe he does.
Do you have any questions about the buildings themselves? You probably don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Sorry. Okay. Finances. Yeah, finances. I have talked about finances every year when I come to Friends of Latvia. And every year I give you too much information and you get totally lost. So I've been trying to figure out what it is that I should talk about. Today I heard several comments about pastor salaries, and I do have a comment on that. Our pastor salaries are funded from something that we call the Pastor Salary Fund. There is no congregation in Latvia right now that can afford to pay their own pastor. We are working toward slowly getting there, but with the funding and with our capabilities at the moment and with your help, we can keep up the facility that we have as much as possible, and we can pay for utilities and pay for the working of the church. And you have to understand it's very difficult. When we understand that the mission of the church is to reach out to people. When you don't have many funds, you know you need for the building, but you'd rather do outreach. It's very, very difficult to set up any kind of budget to worry about buildings. Right now, we are getting help for the salaries. When you are in partnership with the church, 1/3 off the top, 1/3 goes into the pastor's salary fund. The congregation gets 2/3 of the money for their own use. So we have that money. Not all congregations have connecting congregations. So only those that have. Then there is a Baltic Pastor Salary Fund where the Scandinavian pastors donate money so that the Baltic pastors, it goes into the Baltic Pastor Salary Fund for the 3 countries. But that is slated to end in 2017. The bishop has talked about perhaps trying to extend that. Then we have the Fund Mission in Europe, which every year the bishop asks for a grant, and usually we get a small grant stipend for pastor salaries from them. And then we have a great gift from Denmark. Denmark's Bethanien Bethany Foundation has come to us and said we would like to raise the pastor's salaries, and we want to make a commitment for 10 years. So for full-time pastors, it is 100 euros a month in hand. We will pay the taxes, and so if you're a half-time pastor, you have 50 euros more in hand. They have always also said that it's very important for the pastors to have health insurance, so they are also paying for the pastor's health insurance. So, dear Denmark, dear Bethanien, thank you very, very much. I think what touched me most when, well, first of all, I couldn't believe it. Second of all, when they said, and this is for 10 years. When I was living in the States, the philosophy, including me, was let's give them a little help. Let's not make them dependent, and let's pull out. Let's make this agreement for 3 years, and by then they should get on their feet. To hear a different thinking of, we want to make a commitment, and it's a long-range commitment, so you don't have to think about it. We're there with you, hand in hand. Has meant a great deal. And I must admit, I have heard that from some of you, that you do not see this partnership as a 3-year commitment. And a lot of you actually are in relationships that are longer. It's not only the financial commitment, but it's the friendship. And somebody comes and says, well, I'm going to be with you for 3 years. It's a different kind of relationship. Yeah. Then we also have a pension fund now, which is 2 years old. Each pastor puts into the pension fund I think 2%. Is it 2% already, or 1.5%? It could be this year, of their salary. Each congregation matches that 1.5%. The pension board of the United Methodist Church has given a lump sum to all of the Central Conferences, all the countries outside of the U.S., as a starting or a nest egg for their pension fund. From this pension fund, we take some money because we have one pastor that's on pension, and according to our formula, he would only be entitled to, I think, 75 euros or 60 euros a month. We as a church have committed to pay our pension, former DS, 100 euros a month. So when he hasn't earned under the formula, because we're new and there's no money in the fund from us, then we are committing to 100 euros for our pension pastor. Do you have, about how much is the salary? I don't know if you're interested. The employer tax is 24% in Latvia. Take-home pay, and I only know this because it just came up. Giannis, if I can use you as an example. Yeah. You asked what you could expect as a salary, right? As a part-time pastor. We told him he would have 250 euros on hand per month. The sum differs a little bit depending if it's a single person, if it's a married person, if he has dependents, but it's around that sum. We have we have 5 full-time pastors, and all the rest are part-time pastors. We have 2 exceptions. The board decided that the Thesis congregation and the Full Day congregation, because of their circumstances, for this coming year is considered 3/4 time. But next year it goes back to half time. All pastors are on half salary, half-time appointment, all salaries across the board. There are 2 in Riga and 2 in Liepāja. So they're full-time. Well, together they're full-time. Any questions about salary? Vanessa, yeah. Tev ir 2 draudzes, tā kā tu esi pilnsots. Bet atsevišķi draudze pussot. Vera said, am I half-time or full-time? Well, she has 2 congregations, so yes, she's full-time. But each congregation is given a half-time appointment. Is that clear to everybody? Yeah? Yeah. What is the Latvian Church? What are the Methodists contributing to the pastor's salary? In 2008, the office decided that we must start getting the congregations used to giving at least something toward the pastor's salary. At that point, the most we could do was to a portion of the 25% tax that we pay. That was meant to be, that portion was supposed to be increased every year, but then the economic crisis hit. And that wasn't the right time to increase anything. This year, we have, the board has decided that we will be increasing what goes into the pastor's salary fund from the Latvian churches. Now, every church gives 11% of its collection offering. 11% of its offering goes to the district office, and that money is spent on our conference, primarily on our conference. Now, as of July 1, we have decided that each church has to give 12%. Has to give 12%. 2% goes into the pastor's salary fund. Now that might not seem like a lot, but I'm grateful to Nihat because he did a very nice job of giving us an example. He took one of the congregations, and their offering, their 11% of the offering was 200 euros for the quarter, for 3 months. So 10% was 20 euros. You with me? Now we're saying it's going to be 12%, but there is a minimum of 10 euros a month. And 20 euros for Riga First and the Applied. Yeah? So that means that this congregation that would give 20% plus 1%, 20 euros plus 1%, now has to give the 10%, but their minimum 2% is at least 30 euros, which actually is a big bite. Some of the congregations have said, oh, but we will do it. We will do it. And for the congregation members, we will continue slowly to increase that so that we can become independent at some point. The offerings. I asked Yolan to give me a breakdown of the offerings. How are we doing as a church? Are they going up or are they going down? This is from 2012 through 2015. I think you'll be able to see the chart. And this is actually during our recovery time.
Can we pass that around?
So with
Can we pass that around?
our 2016 report, it will have a spike.
We pass it around.
Yeah, and their figures as to how much on the other side. This is just a graph.
Okay.
You want to see? Yeah.
Figures on the other side.
Yeah. This is our first year where we have not had our stipend or grant from General Board of Global Ministries. When we understood that the relationship was going to change, it was very scary for us because much of the programming money, much of the money was budgeted for programming. For the last 6 years, we have been very scrupulous not to spend as little as possible, and to shift over from what we were funding from outside sources to asking the congregations to pay for their pastors, travel, and some of the other expenses. We are okay this year. We are we have an excellent finance person, extremely tight-fisted, extremely scrupulous with the accounting, and she is making sure not an extra penny is spent. So right now, I think the scariness is wearing off a little bit, and I do think that slowly we will be able to take on some of those things and try to fund our programs by ourselves. Your eyes are glazed, you're all going to fall asleep. Is there something else that you want to know? I think pastor salary is what I heard most, and the offering, which is important. There is a lot of emphasis in our churches and our pastors. We want to talk more about tithing. Even if everybody tithed, the money would maybe not be that much, but I think if everyone tithed in Latvia, it would be enough to cover most of our things. So actually, I think tithing is gift from God.
Amen.
A way to say thank you to Him and to trust Him. So we are working on that, and I do think that slowly we will get there. There are congregations that a lot of people tithe, but we could do better. We can do more work on that. Okay, any other questions? I have all kinds of figures. I have all kinds of charts. You're more than welcome to come and peruse them.
Did she mention what the minimum wage
I'm asking the question with realizing that you might not have an answer at hand, but one thing that might interest many of us is we all know that many of the Eastern European countries where we have the United Methodist Church, they depend on the outside support. This outside support might come from different sources, different ways, as you have mentioned for Latvia as well. One critical thing is the balance between the inside support and outside support. And you have said that you are consistently working on becoming more self-supporting, which is the good news also about several other Eastern European countries, which are starting with the same issue. And my question is, do you have a rough estimate on the percentage, how much of the church budget is covered from Latvia and how much is covered by the supporting sources from outside? Does it make sense? Do you know what I mean? Okay, thank you.
I can't give you an answer because our finances are based on what the government asks of us. And the categories are very strict. So often when I look at the financials, for a person that doesn't work with financials that have to be for the government, I don't get to see exactly what's going on. So I don't have that. We can look at pastor salary. That would be very easy to look at, and I think it was 35% was coming from the support, the 1/3 from the churches. But you have to understand that slowly the programs and what the congregations are paying for their pastors to participate in and what they're paying for, we don't have that information. So it's not just the pastor's salary that you're asking for. You're really looking at the whole works of the church. How much is that funded outside? I can tell you that camps, not the facility, but camping, well, no, we have donations there also, but we're getting fairly close to being able to fund that ourselves. With help of your donations, but it's not, when we give them a certain amount from the district to work with. That part is really, the necessity is getting smaller and smaller. But we haven't categorized the bullets. Natural question, but we don't have that.
Yes, Gita, I don't know if you would share with, I don't know if you'd mentioned this, but if you could mention if you know what the, oh, sorry.
Yes, I was wondering, Gita, if you could say, you know what the, share with the group what the poverty wage is in Latvia. Do you know, if anybody, yeah, if there's like a minimum poverty wage.
Like minimum wage?
Minimum, like a minimum wage.
Like how do the pastors compare?
It's median income. Yeah, what's the minimum wage?
370 euros a month. I don't think I haven't heard of a poverty wage. But that's not on hand. That's before taxes. So 25%. Although, depending on what you think. This is in the U.S.
So if you were to take that a step further, what would 300 on hand? So put into perspective what, without just taking a snapshot of what average Latvian pastor makes, what would that be for comparison purposes?
$250 a month.
Below.
I said 250 a month, but plus minus because it depends on your deductions, depends on your family status, is halfway. But we have a system where the elder gets something more, not much, but a little bit more, and also the amount of service, the years of service, 1 to 5, 6 to 10, then that also, I don't know, a few euros more a month.
Yeah, the reason I pose it, the reason I ask that, just to give you an idea, as we talked about with pastor salaries and talked about earlier, I just wanted to give you some perspective, that's all.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Beverly. I forgot to mention the advanced specials. This is a program of GBGM that gives an opportunity for the country and projects to submit a request that it be put in a book with all of the projects all over the world that need funding. We have four such advanced specials. One is the one for Latvia Initiative, which is the number that you put your donation, your partnership money in, if you're sending the monthly donation. The second one, there's a special one for the Hope Center. There's a special one for Wesley Camp, but that is for the facility, not for camping. Camp, Latvia Initiative, and the fourth one is Pastor Salary Fund. You can get the numbers on the internet. If you really can't find it, then we can get you the numbers.
Perhaps just a small comment here. There are many projects in Latvia, as you all know, not just these four. If you want to use the channel, then you can always use the general Latvia, what used to be Latvia Mission Initiative, will be now Latvia in Mission Together. Don't worry about this, still a different name, but the point is that you can use this for a specific project in a specific place when you designate your gift. So you will never have a problem that I want to support this project, but it is not advanced special. You don't have this problem. because you can support any project in Latvia using this channel and designating your gift for this particular church or project.
Thank you for asking. Sorry. Scattered thoughts. The Advance Special is a wonderful way to donate money for a project in Latvia. If you send the money directly to the district office, then you have to pay a money transfer fee. General Board of Global Ministries covers that fee. Whatever money you send gets shipped here or transferred to our account. Good accountability, we can see how much gets donated for whatever fund. One big wish. Please, if you donate money to the Latvia in Mission account, please designate what specifically it is for, and please write us an email and tell us that this money is coming. Because when it gets here, if there's no designation, it will go into that general fund, and if it comes through on that account that is for, if it's from the partnership for Kuldika, the first thing the treasurer will do is take 1/3 off. Because we wouldn't know that you're sending money for the kitchen. Okay? Very important to designate and mail us so we know what it's for. We had a problem with Jelgava. The Jelgava partnership sent money. We took the 1/3 off, and it went into their general account, because what we do, we have an account for each congregation. And from that account, the money is doled out every month. Because sometimes the donations come in for 6 months, sometimes once a year. Jelgava was getting their monthly money, and they kept waiting for this special money to come, but we didn't know there was special money. So it took many, many emails. Plus, there was a lot of suspicion. Somebody's not doing their job, what's going on, who pocketed the money, and it was just not necessary had we known. About the Advance Special, I'm a little concerned because the Latvian mission is very constant. The donations to the Hope Center are down. Camp Wesley, Richard already told you about, and the pastor's salary. Thank you very much. There are some of you that donate every month. We appreciate that. And there's some that donate for some of the other ones every month. It's very hard sitting here to know what the trend is going to be. Especially you have to count on that money to set up budget. Okay, Wayne.
I wanted to ask about. Giving Tuesday. Is everyone aware of that and how it works?
Thank you so much. All these things I meant to mention. We find now the last that some of you are very aware of Giving Tuesday. A wonderful, wonderful thing that General Board of Global Ministries has set up. I don't know what the matching sum will be this year, but last year I believe it was $1 million. If you are planning to send a donation, and it's not the monthly, please don't wait the whole year. It's not the monthly money for the church. It's a wonderful time to donate money, but there is this little catch. It's first come, first served. It's the first $1 million that is pledged on that day.
12:01 a.m.
And we have had people sit on that computer trying to get through and miss the matching donation. Because everything gets clogged up, And they have a system, the first million, and, well, it's how many millions for donating 20 million this year? You don't remember, it's a huge amount of money that gets donated. So a lot of you, I think, or some of you that donated said, oh, I got it double. Because you might have called it, what is it, 1201? You might have tried to donate it 1205. And the matching funds were gone. Read the fine print. Because you do get reminders every year. Thank you, Wayne. They really, they really do match. So we had a couple match this year.
I did 3 and they all matched.
Someone else, Marilyn, you had a question. All right, do you need to pass the salary fund or any of the other? I think you all might have it. No. Are there any other questions? Are there any questions from the audience? You all look as bored as the Americans.